What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 1796 Sports Podcast. I'm your host, NormalVolFan. I'm alongside my big buddy, Ryan, and we're going to be here recapping the game from the Tennessee Tech, Tennessee Volunteers game from Monday night. Big win. Was really impressed. We won 80-42. Kind of disappointed in the outcome from the crowd, but we're going to get into that. Ryan, what were your thoughts, your initial thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really be upset about a 38-point win. But yeah, the crowd was certainly lacking. I expected us to show out for the home opener, but it's always nice to see the future of the team get some run, which we'll have a lot of opportunities to do that early in the season. And it's also really fun to see all the starters hoping that a walk-on takes a shot and hits it. So it's always a fun time in these types of games.
Yeah, this team really looks like they're a family, and they really enjoy being around each other, which is really awesome to see. Now, we'll start with the crowd. I'm honestly really disappointed in the crowd because I understand that we're playing Tennessee Tech, but it's the home opener. Ziegler coming back for the first time. You have Santi, coming back from whatever his family issues were. I really expected a huge crowd for, that night. But, I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, we were playing someone small. We knew we were going to win. It's a reason I didn't go to the game. I mean, living 4 hours away, I'm not going to drive to Knoxville to watch them play Tennessee Tech. So,
yeah, it's it's hard to get people to come out. 6:30 start on a Monday night. So, but, I don't expect the crowd to be a problem when the bigger teams come to town. So we still saw, talking about the game, we still saw a few of the patented Rick Barnes team scoring droughts. But luckily, we were able to end them quickly. And the one at the start of the game was really pissing me off.
Oh, yeah, me too. You're not the only one.
We took a while to get going. We were turning the ball over a little bit, but we finally stepped out of it.
Yeah, and that can't happen against good teams.
No.
I mean, look at the Michigan State game. I know they lost to JMU, but we came out all cylinders firing, up 15-1. I mean, that's what you need to do against good teams, and even against the bad teams. I expected Tennessee to get close to 100 points this game, and it could have happened if we didn't have that scoring drought. And you got to realize, I mean, Vescovy was in foul trouble. He only had 2 points. So, and Ziegler obviously isn't 100%. I think he's at like an 80 to 85% right now. And, those two things, I mean, Triple J played really well. Dalton Connect obviously was and is a magician. Really impressive. Even though, like I said, it's a smaller school that we're facing, but I think this team's really going to be good this year as long as we don't get into that habit of getting in that scoring drought right at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Normally, whenever we go through those scoring droughts is when we slip up on the road and you just can't snap out of it. I mean, for as good as the defense is, the object of the game is putting the ball in the basket. So, you can't have that. And finally, at the start of the game, Jordan Gainey got a few nice buckets and ended that drought, and then the offense rolled from there. They scored over 30 points in the last 10 minutes. So if our offense was good through the whole first half, you're looking at 50, 60 in the first half instead of just 41 like we got. But, yeah, Gainey and Connect, with them on the team, at least one of them on the floor, at a time, I really don't see us being in those scoring droughts because they're so skilled and at creating their own shot when everybody else is struggling.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. I think obviously everyone knows Connect's going to be something, but Jordan Gainey, man, that boy could shoot. He could drive to the basket. He could hit at all three levels of the court. I mean, he could hit mid-range shots. He could hit long shots. He could drive to the basket. And that's what we were missing last year. Like, Zakai's amazing at getting to the rim, but the thing is he's so small to where any big-time school is going to have a guy down there that's going to swat everything away.
Yeah.
But I really do think that Jordan Gainey is going to get a lot of playing time this year, um, alongside Dalton Connect. Obviously, like with this game being a blowout, they weren't playing a lot of minutes. I mean, 25 minutes for Connect, 22 minutes for Gainey. Those were the two highest minutes played by anyone on the team.
Yeah,
So they're
that's
obviously saying something there.
yeah. I think they could be saying something, but I think that's really what you want to see in these early season games like this against an overmatched opponent. Get out and get the lead up, and then let's see what the freshmen and everybody else can do. But I want to talk a little bit about Josiah Jordan James. He was 4 of 5 from the 3 point line. If he can be doing that throughout the season, that's just another guy that you can rely on for beyond the arc. Like the only one he missed was a heat check in transition. Like if he wasn't feeling it, he's probably perfect from the 3 point line.
Oh yeah, and the thing is about him is you could tell when he's on the court, he's a leader on the court. He he brings that veteran style play along with Vescovy too. I mean, Vescovy on the defense, yeah, he had a terrible, outcome just because of the fouls. I mean, he got
Yeah.
into foul trouble. He couldn't really stay on the court, but I mean, dude, let's just. I mean, we could go down the list, but I could probably name 8 to 9 guys that I would not care to shoot the three at any point in the game.
No, and it's just, I mean, the team was 40% from the 3 point line, and you had two of those scoring droughts. I mean, 12 of 30, and a lot of those misses were coming from the backup players, and like you just alluded to, Vescovi didn't have his best night shooting. So this team can, like, as long as they're making the threes, which you're not going to every night, I understand that, but as long as they're consistent from the 3 point line, they can go as far as they want to.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I mean, the defense is solid. I mean, we all expect that, but the defense is really solid. I think it's going to be a tough time for a team to come in, especially coming to Knoxville. I mean, you have a big team coming to Knoxville. You know the crowd's going to be rowdy. It's going to be absolutely bonkers there. And playing a defense like that could score like that, it's going to be hard to beat. And as long as you, like you said, as long as we could stay out of those droughts. I mean, even if you get into a drought, don't let it just keep going. You got to get out of it quick.
Yeah.
And I think this team has very, very good potential, especially for a first game of the year. I mean, look at Michigan State. You look at all these teams that have been having trouble in their first games because of the jitters, whatever you want to call it. But Tennessee really showed out, and I think we'll probably move up in the rankings with Michigan State losing. So,
Yeah, I think so too. And Tennessee Tech is no slouch. I mean, they were on the verge of punching the ticket to March Madness last year in the OVC tournament. So they're a team we play pretty frequently, and they know what we do, and we still took it to them pretty good. So, and you were talking about the crowd for big games. I think the team will be ready when those big teams come to town. You probably won't see the turnovers and scoring drought in the first 10 minutes like we saw last night. I mean, it's as much as you cherish every game as a D1 athlete, it's hard to get up for games like that, but they were able to overcome their struggles early.
yeah, absolutely. I think, man, I'm so confident in this team. It's like scary. Like, I don't want it to be another disappointing season, but I just don't see it with this team. Like I said, the leadership, the family aspect that it seems to be around these guys really points to high hopes. And again, with a game going to Wisconsin this weekend, I think you come out of a road game like that and win that, it's going to start a whole lot of momentum.
Yeah, and I think we'll learn a lot more about this team after Friday night. I mean, your first, solid Power Five opponent on the road. We'll see a piece of what this team has, and by no means is it the end all be all of the season, but we're going to find out a lot more come Friday night.
Yep. But other than, the couple guys that didn't really play well, Meshack played pretty well. Um, I'm gonna tell you, I'm really like I'm not worried. I won't say worried, but Freddie didn't look too hot. Couple turnovers in the game, kind of looked a little sloppy. Um, he didn't look like that during the Michigan State game, and maybe it was just nerves coming into first game of the season. But I don't know what you thought about it.
Yeah, I wasn't too disappointed. I mean, it's a freshman playing his first collegiate game that counts, and he was able to get 7 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, and the 2 turnovers probably go back to the jitters. So I wasn't too disappointed. I loved what I saw from the young post players behind Adu and Awaka. Uh, JP Estrella and Cade Phillips both got in there, ran around, both got a bucket, both of them got a block. So I'm thinking our post depth is going to be as good as it's been in a while.
Yeah, it's definitely good to hear. Adu, I think Adu's such a solid defender. The fact that he could go beyond the arc sometimes and hit a three is great. He had a slow start, but
Yeah.
definitely picked it up towards the end. Again, a lot of the starters, I mean, we didn't get to see a lot of. So expect to see a lot of them Friday because
Yeah.
Wisconsin is no slouch, especially at home. So, we look forward to that. And other than that, I think who's your like freshman standout of the game?
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of contradictory to what you said, but I really liked what I saw from Freddie in his first game. I mean, I think as we go throughout the season, he's going to be a good person to have if Vescovi or Ziegler get in foul trouble because you got to have one other guard behind Gainey and Meshack. So I think that he's just going to get better and better.
Yeah, I honestly my like I wouldn't say like standout performance of the game from uh, a freshman, but I really liked how Cameron Carr looked. I
Yeah.
think I think he has a lot of potential. Um, being 6'5" and being able, he could shoot a three too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he hit that bank three, towards the end of the game. Obviously, I don't know if he called it or not, but
Yeah. Yeah.
other than that, I think you're right about Freddie. I think he's gonna be good. I just think he had a rough game, um,
Yeah.
and which is if you're saying he had a good performance. I mean, if I think he had a bad game, then what do we expect when he has that great game? Um, that's yet to be determined. But I think he's gonna play a lot. I think we'll end up seeing Cameron Carr a little bit this year. Toby Awaka didn't seem very active yesterday.
Yeah. According to Fox Sports Knoxville, I was listening to the drive this afternoon. He'd been pretty sick the week before. He only got in the game for 9 minutes. It didn't look too hot. He had 3 turnovers, didn't get a bucket, but I expect him and Vescovi, after him being away from the team for a little bit, to have a nice bounce back performance come Friday night.
Oh yeah, for sure. I kind of figured that's why Vescovi was having kind of a rough game. No one blames him for that. But again, that's what's great about having a deep team like we do. That
Mm-hmm.
Vescovi didn't have a great game and we still won by 38 points. So I don't
And
think scoring is going to be an issue for this team.
yeah, the Vescovi, he's not a player to stay in a slump for too long because when he's hot, he is hot. And as soon as he sees one go in, I think it's going to be done from there. So I'm not worried about Vescovi. He just got to get back in the flow of things. We talked about Adu a little bit earlier. I thought he was being a little bit too aggressive on the jump shots. I would rather him channel that aggressiveness into backing someone down in the post, considering he's 7 feet tall. I mean, I understand that he can hit the jump shots and stretch the floor shooting from the three, but I would rather him save those for when you're wide open rather than just forcing it. I'd rather him be aggressive near the basket.
No, I completely agree. Obviously, we know he could shoot pretty well. I mean, if they leave you wide open, yeah, shoot the ball.
Yeah,
But I mean, I understand what you're saying because I agree. I mean, you should be down in the post, creating separation for guys that can shoot the three. You start making those little, sky hooks, whatever you want to call them, and people have to guards start dropping down. That's when you throw it to the perimeter and let those guys shoot.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't think scoring is going to be an issue for this team. As long as our defense, if the defense does what it did like last year and was holding teams under 50, I don't know, man. It's going to be tough to beat Tennessee.
Yeah, it's just going to be nearly impossible. I mean, and one more thing about those ADU jump shots. If those don't go in, your chances of getting a rebound are drastically reduced without him in the paint. So that's another reason I'd rather him save those for when he's wide open. But yeah, the defense is absolutely locked down. I mean, it's going to be hard. I mean, to beat Tennessee when the defense is flowing and the shots are falling. So I definitely agree with that. There's one thing that kind of concerned me about the game. We only out rebounded them by 10 boards, and I'd rather the deficit be bigger than that against a team like Tennessee Tech. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I was about to say that too. I don't know what it is, but I also don't think we were crashing the boards like we should have been.
Yeah.
It seemed like they would just toss up a shot, and they were kind of hoping it would just fall to them instead of going to the basket and trying. And I understand not all five of you need to go to the basket, but three you should be going for that offensive rebound. And I think that was a big issue, but also it could be the first game thing. We got a Hall of Fame coach. He's obviously going to bring that up on crashing the boards because, I mean, especially when you got Triple J and Dalton Connect and Adu going to the rim to get some offensive rebounds, I expect you to get some.
Yeah. And I think
go ahead.
Sorry. I think a little bit of that too was Awaka wasn't feeling well, and then you have two freshmen post behind Adu who only played 18 minutes. So I don't expect it to be a huge issue, but they should definitely be emphasizing that in practice the next 3 days.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, you said it perfectly. With him being sick, I think we'll be fine. Dalton definitely goes to the rim. That kid plays hard all game long, and that's what we need. And I think he's going to be, man, this kid is going to be a stat freak.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think it's on the table for him to get a triple-double this year. Like,
what do you think of these Luka? Where they're comparing him to Luka?
I don't know if he's that good. I don't think his passing is quite on that level. He didn't have any assists last night, but he definitely had. He plays like him. He plays similarly to Luka when he's hunting his shot. I can definitely see it in that aspect of his game.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have the passing ability of Luka. Not saying he can't get to that point, but I think we should calm down with those comparisons. Now, don't get me wrong; he could definitely score. Score, but even the rebounding. I mean, somehow Luka ends up with 10+ rebounds a game, and if he starts doing that, then we could talk.
Yeah. He only had 3 the other night. I expect Barnes to be circling that stat on his box score for Dalton Connect. And at halftime, Barnes, with his little interview with the sideline reporter right before the second half started, he acted like Connect passed up some shots that he wanted him to take.
Yeah, I think he didn't. I feel like he didn't want to be that ball hog type. He seemed like he wanted to share the ball, but there was shots that I thought he should have just shot because, I mean, he was obviously feeling it last night, and I could have seen him with 25 points easily. But same thing. I mean, magician, bro. The little layup he had, the alley-oop, Like, this kid is all over the court. Um, Now, these Kentucky fans that are saying that they're going to expose him, I'd be careful with what you are saying.
Yeah, with like, I don't. Are Tennessee fans watching Kentucky play whoever they played last night and tweeting about their best player? Like, get a grip. Like, how obsessed are you?
Oh, dude, I can't even talk about basketball on Twitter. It's like, we don't care about basketball. Whoever said Tennessee doesn't care about basketball?
Yeah,
Like,
I have no idea where that's coming from. That's
when we
ridiculous.
have a top 10 team in the country, you're going to act like we don't care about it?
I think it just comes down to them being scared, being
Well, and we give them respect because, I mean, Kentucky's not bad. You know, I honestly think the Kentucky team last year is going to be better than this year's team. And I'm not saying they're bad, but I expect us to split that series, and I could see us winning both. It's just I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt at home, and I just Anyways, we'll get off that topic. We'll talk about that when Kentucky comes to town. But man, this game though, I wasn't disappointed, but I wasn't really impressed. I was more impressed with the exhibition game against Michigan State.
yeah, and that's perfectly understandable. I mean, there's only so much that you can take away from you fans tend to be hypercritical whenever you're playing an overmatched opponent. So I wasn't too disappointed, and when you have those scoring droughts, well, without those, we definitely hit 100. I mean, because you scored most of your points in the final 10 minutes of each half. Like, I don't think there's too big of a concern there, especially with Vescovi being off, not getting as many rebounds as you should have, and it just being the first game for all these freshmen. So I'm really not too concerned or taking anything drastic away from this game, one way or another.
So going into Friday, because we probably won't have a preview for Friday. I guess we'll talk about it now. But
yeah,
Wisconsin. I mean, I don't know much about them this year, but I mean, I know for a fact that their fans show up for especially a game against a top 10 team.
Oh yeah, I mean they're a historically good basketball program. I mean, it's going to be tough to go up there and grab that win, especially if we have those droughts like we're harping on here. I mean, they had a good exhibition win. No, yesterday they beat Arkansas State 105-76. So they can definitely put the ball in the basket. But with Tennessee's defense coming to town,
you could probably cut that in half.
Yeah, you like maybe 60 points if they play really well, probably getting into the 70s. The thing with Tennessee, you always know the defense is going to show up. That's what Rick Barnes does. But it's just about, can we avoid those droughts? Can we put the ball in the basket on the road? So that's what it's going to come down to on Friday night.
Yeah, and that's the thing is if Wisconsin's giving up 76 points to Arkansas State, I expect Tennessee to be able to put up some points too.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, being at home makes a big difference in the sport. But I could definitely see Tennessee winning this game by double digits if we don't hit those droughts. And I don't know, maybe Michigan State was a preview on how this team's going to play on the road. And if that's the case, I am not disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, like I can't say it enough. Like if you avoid those droughts, this team can go as far as you want to. And in the past, we haven't been able to in the games that matter. So that's going to be the key to this season. Avoid those droughts, and you can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't really know much about Wisconsin. We're only at the second game of the season. So we can't really talk much about them. Notable guys that played really well against Arkansas State was one of their guards, Chucky Hepburn, another guard, AJ Storr, and some of their backups played pretty well. They also split a lot of guys. They didn't play a lot of guys minutes, except for Chucky Hepburn. I mean, he played 30 minutes, had 20 points, 6 assists, and 1 rebound. So that's a name probably to keep an eye on for the game against us this week. And but other than that, I mean, like I said, we don't have much to go on. I think Tennessee will probably be a double-digit favorite, probably 10, maybe even more. Yeah.
Just reading a few things about Wisconsin, they return a lot of what they had last year, and they added a few transfers. I mean, the early season matchups, you really don't know what these teams are yet, so it's hard to predict. But I don't see us losing this game because the defense is going to show up, and I think we have the ability this year to put the ball in the basket on the road, which was our trouble last year on the road in the SEC. So, and I also don't think we're going to miss free throws like we did last year because we hit 10 out of 10 the other night. So as long as we hit our free throws, play defense, and get the ball in the basket, we should cruise to victory.
Yeah, stay out of foul trouble. I mean, Vescovy, as a leader of this team, needs to stay out of foul trouble. Like I said, we understand, his situation, so I'm not knocking him for anything. But, you definitely got to stay out of foul trouble. We need your leadership on the court. Triple J, if Triple J is hitting his shots, I don't see us losing this game. I don't see us losing this game anyway, but what's your prediction? Since, like I said, we probably won't have a preview for this one. What's your prediction for this one?
I'm going to go with the Vols 68-56.
That's not a bad score. That's definitely not a bad score. That's actually a really good prediction. I'm going to stick around there. I think we score a little bit more than 68. Not in the 80s, but I think we get to like 72, 74. But I'll go with 74 Vols with I think they'll get into the 60s, but I think it'll be 74-62 Vols win. Big game on the road. Start the season 2-0.
Yeah, I really expect Vescovy to bust that slump Friday night. My bold prediction is he's going to be Tennessee's leading scorer.
Hey, I mean, we definitely wouldn't be disappointed in that. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up with Dalton, though. If he's hitting his shots, now don't get me wrong, if he's hitting his shots, yes, I think, Vescovy's going to be, if he's not in a slump, he's going to be good for 12 to 15 points a game.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think Dalton will probably average, I'd say, 18 a game this season. And that's being generous. We know he could score. But, I mean, with the amount of scoring we have on this team, I don't think he'll bust that 20 points a game stat.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of points to go around on this team. So I think upper teens is a good number for Dalton.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to get into, man?
No, I don't think so. I think, like we said, there's not really much to go on first game of the season against a weak opponent. Wisconsin, we don't know a lot about. So, but yeah, we appreciate all you guys listening to this podcast. For us just getting started, this is fun for us, and we look forward to these final ends of the football season, and we're definitely just starting this great basketball season that we should have. So, again, we appreciate you listening. This is the 1796 Sports Podcast. I'm your host, NormalVolFan, and my co-host, Ryan, and we'll catch you next time. Go Vols.
Go Vols.